Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to talk about angle addition and an angle bisector. You're going to need something to write with, a calculator, your notes, and the blue foldable I handed out in class. So first let's talk about angle addition postulate. So what does this mean? Well, first we're talking about an angle and we're thinking addition. So if you can put that together, it sounds like we're going to add angles together. So the definition of this postulate is if K is an interior of angle HIJ, then this box right here that I'm drawing is what I'm going to have you rewrite to the side. So then we know the measure, little m out in front just means measure. So the measure of angle HIK plus the measure of angle KIJ equals the measure of angle HIJ. So it's taking the two angles on the inside, and if we add them together, it should equal the whole angle. So let's take a look at an example of the angle addition postulate. In example 1, we're told that the measure of angle AOC is 70 degrees. So AOC is my entire angle. It's going to be 70 degrees. It also tells me that the measure of AOB equals 1/2 times the quantity 2x plus 20. So whenever I'm given information, I like to write it in my diagram. So AOB would be this angle right here, and this is going to be 1/2 times 2x plus 20. My other angle, the measure of angle BOC, equals x. So this angle down here is x. Now remember, the angle addition postulate, as long as there's a ray in between, the interior angles add up to the whole angle. So if I were to write this down, the measure of angle AOB plus the measure of angle BOC equals the measure of the whole angle, which is AOC. Now going back in and filling in what I know, the measure of angle AOB is 1/2 times the quantity 2x plus 20. Measure of angle BOC is x. And the measure of angle AOC is 70 degrees. So again, now I have this algebraic problem that you just have to go and figure out what x is. So let's take the 1/2. Since it's outside, we need to distribute it to both of them that are inside the parentheses. So 1/2 times 2x would give me 1x. 1/2 times 20 gives me 10 plus x equals 70. From here, I combine like terms. We get 2x plus 10 equals 70. Solving for x, I want to subtract 10 from both sides. 2x equals 60. And then we should divide by 2. Divide by 2. X should equal 30. Okay, now that's not the only thing I was trying to find. I need to find the measure of angle BOC. So BOC is my little angle in here, and BOC was just x. So the measure of angle BOC equals x. Well, we know what x is, so we can substitute 30 in for x. There's nothing else to do, so the measure of angle BOC then is just 30. We're talking about angles. We need to make sure we label that with a little degree sign. Okay, now I need to find the measure of angle AOB. So I can plug x in, or since I know that the entire angle is 70, measure of angle AOC equals 70, and I know that the measure of angle BOC is 30, how could I figure out my missing piece? Hopefully we're thinking 70 minus 30, which would equal 40. So the measure of angle AOB should be 40 degrees. Next, we're going to talk about what an angle bisector is. Now, again, thinking of the word bisector, remember this bi means two. And if we think of intersect, we can say split. So a bisector then splits an angle or segment, right, into two equal parts. So then the definition you have in your foldable is a ray that divides an angle into two congruent angles. What's the sign again for congruent? Remember that equal sign with the swoosh on top? So if ray XZ is an angle bisector of angle WXY, name the two congruent angles that are formed. Okay, so if it splits the whole angle here into half, the two angles we see then are this angle right here and this angle right here. Okay, so now to write that, we write angle WXZ is congruent to angle ZXY. And why is it important that I have my x's in the middle? Okay, those are the middle of the angle. That's how we would name the angle if we use just one letter. So they need to make sure that they go between the other two letters. Now again, on my diagram over here, you saw me draw these little arches in there. Okay, I drew those little arches in there because now that I know that they're congruent, I'm going to use those slashes to show that they're congruent. I know those two angles are congruent, and this is what I would write to show that. So in our example of angle bisector, we're showing that ray FG bisects the angle EFG. So it bisects this angle right here. Let's use what we're given and label our picture. So the measure of angle GFH is 1/2 times the quantity 10x minus 20. And the measure of EFG is 3x plus 25. We need to find all of this information, and it looks like a lot, but you'll see as we go, it ends up not being so hard or so bad. So remember, bisect means to split into two congruent parts. Congruent means equal, right? Equal. So if I know that these two set angles in here are congruent, so the measure of angle EFG is congruent to angle, sorry, I don't want the measure in there, angle GFH. You can change that then to an equal sign. And what is angle EFG? EFG is 3x plus 25. And GFH is 1/2 times the quantity 10x minus 20. All I did was set up an equation here and substitute it in for what we were given. We were given the measure of angle EFG and we were given the measure of GFH. So now that I have this algebraic problem, all I have to do is go about solving it. So I'm going to distribute this 1/2 to what's in parentheses to get 1/2 times 10x would be 5x. 1/2 times a negative 20 would be a negative 10. The left-hand side stayed the same. And now I just need to combine like terms on both sides. So I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides. So I get a negative 2x plus 25 equals negative 10. Now I'm going to subtract 25 from the left-hand side and the right-hand side. So negative 2x equals negative 35. To get x alone, my last step is to divide by a negative 2. So x is going to equal 35 divided by 2 gives me 17.5. So going over here, I'm just going to fill in what x is, 17.5. Now I need to figure out the measure of GFH. So the measure of angle GFH equals 1/2 times 10x minus 20. Filling in for what x is equal, because now we found x, so 1/2 times 10 times 17.5 minus 20. So in parentheses here, 10 times 17.5 would be 175 minus 20. Solve that 1/2 out front. So 1/2 times 175 minus 20 would be 155. 1/2 of 155 is 77.5 degrees. So the measure of angle GFH is 77.5 degrees. Now remember, we split the angle, the bisector split the angle into 2 equal parts. So I know that these 2 inner angles, let's change my color quick. These 2 inner angles right here are congruent. So if I know what one is, the other angle has to be the same. So my other angle, EFG, also better be 77.5 degrees. Now if I'm trying to find the whole angle and I know what the 2 inner angles are, so the measure of angle EFH equals the measure of angle EFG plus the measure of angle GFH. So if the measure of angle EFG is 77.5, the measure of angle GFH is 77.5, that means the measure of EFH is going to be 155 degrees. Don't forget that label because we're talking about angles. All angles are measured in degrees. So then now I need to find what the measure of IFE is. Okay, so looking here, how do we think IFE relates to EFH? Okay, notice that they're all on this straight line here. Do you remember the total degrees for a straight line? Hopefully we're thinking 180 degrees. So if I know that my right chunk is 155, how am I going to figure out the left chunk? I hope some of us are thinking 180 minus 155, which equals 25 degrees. I'm just using what I have left to figure out that the measure of angle IFE is 25 degrees. Remember, if this isn't clear to you, if you have questions on this, write down this question so that way when you get to class, we can discuss it. Now, these next 2 examples aren't in your foldable, but I'd like you to write them down on the left-hand side. So the measure of angle HJL, so HJL would be my whole thing, is 116 degrees. We need to find the value of x and the measure of HJK by showing all of our work. So we don't know that JK is the bisector, so we can't assume they're equal. But since we know what the whole is, I go to the left-hand side and I do some work before this, looking at my first postulate, angle addition, the measure of angle HJL equals the measure of angle HJK plus the measure of angle KJL. So now going in and filling in for what I know, we know the measure of angle HJL is 116. We know that the measure of HJK is 13x plus 20. And we know that the measure of angle KJL is 10x plus 27. The reason I set it up like this is I knew that the K was on the inside of my entire angle. So that means the inside angles added together should give me the angle of the whole. So next, I need to combine like terms on the right-hand side. 13 and 10x should give me a 23x. 20 and 27 should give me 47. Nothing happened to the right-hand side, so I'm going to keep 116. In order to solve for x, I need to subtract 47 from both sides. So 116 minus 47 should be 69 equals 23x. And then to get x by itself, I should divide both sides by 23 to get x equals 3. Now, is that the only thing we were trying to find here? No, we also need to find the measure of angle HJK K. So the measure of angle HJK in our diagram is 13x plus 20. Since this is in terms of x, we don't really know what it is. But now that we've found what x is, I can substitute in. So 13 times 3 plus 20. 13 times 3 is 39 plus 20. 39 plus 20 is 59. So 59 degrees is what the measure of angle HJK is. Now, did I figure out all that it asked me to solve for? Yes, so let's go on to the next example. Okay, so in this next example, it's telling me that the ray NP bisects the angle MNQ. Okay, so first things first, I don't know what this looks like, so again, I'd like to draw a picture. So I'm going to draw an angle over here, drawing this angle. Okay, we know that this is M, N, Q. And we know that the angle MNQ is bisected by the ray NP. Okay, next thing I should probably label my diagram. So MNP is 6x minus 12 and PNQ is 4x plus 8. I need to find the value of x and I need to find the measure of MNQ. So MNQ then is my whole angle, so that's what I'm going to want to find when I'm done. It's the whole angle. So now I need to show my work, solve for x, and then find the measure of the whole angle. I'm going to have you complete this for class tomorrow. Okay, you have a diagram over here for the diagram. Use the word bisects and what it means. Complete it for class tomorrow, and I will check your notes when I see you. All right. Thank you for taking good notes, and I will see you in class.